Sure, I can start. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Renaissance Exclusive Legacy Symposium. I am Manu Sood, Board Director and Legacy Program Champion. We would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the land on which we gather, work, and live, as well as where our treatment centers stand. This sacred land has been a site of human activity since time immemorial and is the subject of the dish with one spoon wampum belt covenant, an agreement between the peoples of the Great Lakes and beyond to peacefully share, protect, and care for the land and its resources. 3 of our centers are located in Toronto, which sits on the ancestral lands of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, the Haudenosaunee, the Métis, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit. One of our centers is located in Durham, which sits on the ancestral lands of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, the Hiawatha, the Mississauga, Anishinabeg, and the Métis. Under their care and protection, these lands have been an important place of gathering, healing, community, and spiritual connection for more than 15,000 years. Today, these lands are still home to many Indigenous communities and people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to honor and work on this island. As our guests, you are joining us today via Zoom. In order to be considerate and respectful to everyone attending, all attendees are muted. You're welcome to share comments and messages using the Zoom chat box. Should you experience any technical difficulties, note the issue could be on our end if your internet connection is stable. So please send us a quick note via Zoom and we will troubleshoot. Please remember this presentation today is not legal or financial advice. Renascent Foundation strongly recommends you seek the professional service of a lawyer, accountant, or financial advisor to ensure that your financial goals are considered, your tax situation reviewed, and your planned gift is tailored to best fit your circumstances. This presentation was designed as an education session to support the relaunch of Renascent Lifetime Legacy Recovery Fund. I would like to introduce Christina Salvaggio, Manager of Philanthropy.
Thank you, Manu. It's lovely to have you guys here with us today. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I wanted to acknowledge that today is a global day of giving. Today's Giving Tuesday, and Renascent has been part of Giving Tuesday since 2012. So if you're interested to learn a little bit more about Giving Tuesday, if you want to stay behind after this session, I'd be happy to share about ways that you can get involved, monetary, volunteers, really anything. So before we dive into planned giving, I wanted to launch a little bit of a poll. So just a question about legacy giving. So have you ever heard of the term planned giving before? So if any want to just answer the question, I'll end the poll in a few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. And then I'll share the results. So 100% of everybody on the call has heard of planned giving before. So that's great. One other question I have is, let me just relaunch the poll. Has anybody considered, let me share these results. There we go. And now just launching this one. Oops, sorry. Having some technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. So have you considered, or anybody or have heard of, or have you considered charitable giving in your will? So yes, I have already included charitable giving in your will. It doesn't have to be specific to Renascent. Yes, I'm actively considering including charitable giving in my will. No, I haven't thought about charitable giving in my will. No, I haven't considered charitable giving, but I'd like to learn more. I'm unsure, but I'd like more information before deciding. Just give a couple more seconds. It's a pretty even split. Okay, I'm just going to end it there. Sharing our results. So you can see it's a pretty even split. So we're going to get to know planned giving and all that great information today. So what is planned giving? Planned giving, time spotlight. Planned giving is a donor's intention to contribute to a planned gift to an organization beyond their lifetime. This is often a continuation of the donations an individual or a couple or family has made while living, but on a much larger scale. Unlike an annual gift, a planned gift is scheduled for the future. It's often part of a financial or estate plan, typically donated through a will. Planned gifts are typically also realized at the end of life. Now, a donor or an individual typically starts to think about planned giving either at the time of their thinking about retirement, they're thinking about the future, or it's a good time to start if you're in your early 30s or early 40s. Since planned gifts usually align with your values and your beliefs, it's important that when you're considering a planned gift, you're making this choice with your heart, with intention, and also thinking about the type of legacy that you'd like to leave to live forward with and like to leave behind. It's also critical that you coordinate with your professional advisor, your estate planner, and your legal supports, because they know your financial situation and your legal situation best. So every person has a unique situation, and it's best to have one tailored to you. So there are a few questions that individuals will consider when they are thinking about legacy giving. For many individuals, legacy giving consists of monetary donations, but some individuals will give real estate or gift in kind, or they may choose to set up a charitable annuity or trust rather than making a direct donation. So some questions I'd like you all to consider as we go through the next 45 minutes are these. So these are just some of a landscape of questions, but I think these ones are important to consider and maybe journal after this event or in the future. So how can I use my giving to direct my lifelong legacy towards the social outcomes I want and not what the government wants? So at the end of life, you're taxed at the highest tax bracket, because this is when the government sees all of your assets together under one blended blanket. So instead of paying capital gains on your assets and on the things that you own, why not decide leaving that to charity? So let's not leave anything on the table. Let's give to charity. The other thing you may want to consider is you're thinking about, I want to make a meaningful and lasting contribution that reflects the values that I held during my life. So how has your life changed? How have you shifted in your life? How would you like to move forward? And what do you want to leave behind for generations to come? And then what are your options to do this? And this is a challenging question, because it gets there's lots of information out there, but that's why we're starting with education and starting to help you and others look at what's really meaningful and important and where to start and where to look. Okay. So building a philanthropic legacy. A legacy gift is often the final gift that you make in tribute to your life and to the legacy that you want to be remembered for. It's a way to honor yourself. So all legacy gifts are customizable. They can be structured as one-off bequests or as endowments that are evergreen. So what I mean by evergreen is that you can donate a lump sum and you can request a drawdown for a term period. So whether that term period is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it's very rare that a term period will be a lifetime with a charity. The most they will ever be is about 25 years. And the other thing to consider is that size matters. So even though these donations provide a significant benefit to the charity or to the organization, it also supports your capital gain, reducing your capital gains tax. And I think Pardeep will speak a little bit about some of that later on. At Renascent, you can give a gift of securities, you can transfer your stocks, leave an intention in your will for a percentage or a portion of your estate. You can take out a charitable life insurance policy where you, the donor, pays the premium annually, which is eligible for a charitable tax receipt in the year that you pay your premium. And then upon the term, when the insurance policy is a when the insurance policy has reached its term, that money is awarded to the charity. So that's another significant gift that you can leave behind, that you have like now benefits and benefits to the end with reducing capital gains. The other opportunity is you can leave a pledge or a lump sum, either now or in the future. And there are some other opportunities that you can explore with Renascent and with other nonprofits as well. The most popular one across the sector is a donor advised fund. So this fund allows you to give now, later, or both. It involves succession planning. So this is an opportunity for you to engage your family and have this legacy built within your family. And then, like I mentioned, leaving a will or trust as well. And it's important that when you do consider leaving a bequest and an intention in your will, that you consider using the charity's legal name and connecting with the charity and letting them know about your intention to do this. And this is because there's lots of delays and complications when you don't have the right information. And I will post some of the terminology and the language and a follow-up email, but this is always available on our website as well. Discussing all of these possibilities again with your financial team and loved ones, because it's essential to make these critical decisions, these meaningful decisions with your loved ones at hand. Something exciting. So there is a remarkable opportunity that lies at the intersection of legacy and estate planning, a seismic wave of wealth transfer. So it's predicted to be the largest in Canadian history. So we are anticipating that the movement of $1 trillion from boomers to Gen X and millennial heirs by 2026. Now, this is an interesting fact because when we did this presentation about 2 years ago, the statistic was that by 2036, this transfer would happen, but they're predicting a shift because of COVID and life expectancies and other environmental factors have shifted this for this study. This is not only going to pose some challenges because as donors are aging and millennial donors and Gen Zs are considering other ways of giving philanthropically that are more brand oriented, where they're seeing a connection with a brand that they affiliate with, or they want to see something that's a symbolic transformation where they're giving and seeing action immediately. So this is a way for us to shape the future. So this is a golden opportunity for the sector and for anybody who's considering legacy giving to consider this. At Renascent, we recognize that the transformative power of philanthropy is creating lasting change. And we stand at the forefront of this impending wealth transfer. And I'm inviting you all to be a vital part of our vision for positive impact. This opportunity is here for us to be the driving force. But it also means that your generosity can create a legacy and impact that resonates for generations to come. So here's how we can make this shift together. Renascent, if you consider a legacy gift, there are areas, these are just some of the areas of support that you can dedicate your tribute gift to. And this is what this is what we have at this moment. And this isn't to say that it won't change in the future, depending on the need and the requirements of our programs. So general operating support, sustainable programs and breaking barriers, facility development, and innovation and research. So general operating support goes to help us with the highest need and the most critical need in the moment that we need it. Sustainable programming allows us to continue to break barriers and develop and have programs that are timely, meaningful, and meet the current needs of people in the community. And facility development is more of our capital needs. So whether we want to make sure that when people are coming to us for live-in treatment, that they feel like they're at home and that they have the necessities that they need while in our live-in treatment to live for the next 28, 35 days. And then innovation and research. We know that the landscape of mental health and addiction continues to change each and every year, even month to month. So this allows us to look and ensure that our programs continue to meet person-centered, evidence-based, and evidence-informed practices, as well as understand the current climate of people in the community and their complexities. So this is legacy at Renascent. And if you have any questions about legacy, or you want to discuss a little bit more about what you think your legacy would like to be and how it impedes on building your lifetime legacy, but also the legacy for your family and your future, would be happy to discuss this with you. My coordinates are on the screen, but of course you have received many emails from me, so I'm sure you have them in your inbox. Thank you. Manu?
Yeah.
Over to you.
Thank you, Christina. That was very helpful. Always keep in mind that you play a crucial role in crafting the journey that molds your legacy, influencing not only the present, but also the future generations. On that note, we would like to share a brief video showcasing the profound effect and significance of a donation. Whether you choose to give today or plan for a future contribution, your support will have a lasting impact, continually propelling the progress of Renascent's mission. Ina, kindly launch the video.
You had to be right away, taken, no stopping, not even to get cigarettes, straight to your treatment center.
And then when I showed up here, walking up those steps, I was so scared.
And the door opened and this person came out and he had such a friendly voice.
I don't know what's gonna happen, right? But I have all this fear and all these emotions and all these thoughts attached to it.
And I felt that perhaps I could learn to trust this person.
I had no idea how incredible it was really gonna be.
You ready?
Sure.
Feeling good?
I'm always feeling good these days.
There was a point before things got really, really bad where I thought that that I had it all under control.
I mean, you're lucky if you wake up, but I would go periods about maybe 10 to 15 days without sleep.
It looked like I had my life together. So now I'm drinking every weekend, all these things are happening, and then somebody offered me a line of cocaine at a party. Within 5 seconds, that liar in my head was able to turn around, do a 360, and justify. Within 5 minutes, now I'm doing a line of substance on the bathroom counter. That night I spent all my rent money.
Push the people I love away. There's like this ripple effect.
I didn't want to choose to get high. Like, if you would have given me a lie detector test, I would have said, I don't want to use today.
It's not controllable. There's nothing I can do to fix that at the time.
I had this conversation with my dad where he's like, Ashley, your back is so far against the wall, you have nowhere to go. What do you have to lose? And so we started talking about Renascent. We started talking about the higher power piece. And so I was start questioning. I'm like, I don't know what I believe. I don't know. And he said, actually, the sun is situated so far from the earth that we don't burn to death in the summer and we don't freeze to death in the winter. And I don't know who did it, but it wasn't me. Therefore, there was a power greater than me, and something clicked.
The whole organization is just like built from some kind of love foundation.
Being taught what real, honest, genuine love looks like was shown here.
They taught me how to set goals, how to make treatment plans, daily treatment plans. I still have the same one I had.
There's just so much. Like, it just drastically impacted every area of my life.
People have some amazing insight, lived experience, and education. And so I got the benefit of so many people's experiences. I actually have a job where I work in recovery now.
I'm grateful that now my past is my greatest asset, and I get to take my past and use it in my career, helping others.
That gives me huge joy.
I'm grateful that I have a home. I'm grateful that I get to watch my kids grow up.
And I have friendships, really solid friendships.
I'm truly free today, and I think that's the most incredible gift, is having the magic and the freedom in my life today.
Just gratitude for me. I can't give back enough. I just do what I can, and I will keep doing it because this place saved my life.
Wow, what a powerful video. Thank you, Christina. This video features our Renascent alumni, and every alumni who enters Renascent's door embarks on a path of hope, healing, and new beginnings, creating a lasting legacy they aspire to leave for themselves and their loved ones. Ashley's and Colin's opportunity to receive treatment was made possible, in part through the generous contributions of many donors. As we prepare to hear from our next speaker, I invite you to contemplate a question. Consider how far have you come, what you have achieved, and what remains to be accomplished. How will these experiences shape the future? And what vision do you hold for the days ahead? Welcome Pradeep Shata, financial planner, investment and retirement planning professional at RBC. Passion is to champion financial knowledge and skills to help his clients develop personal financial strategy. Pradeep takes the time to understand what matters most to you and recommend strategies for reaching your goals. Over to you, Pradeep.
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this great organization. That was a very powerful video. Yeah, so let's start the slide. Christina, let me know when you're on the page. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Christina, let's actually go to the AMT slide first, the next one over. Perfect. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Pradeep Sharda. I'm a financial planner. I specialize on the investment and retirement planning. Really, I'm here to give some education piece on how we can give different ways of giving, some questions that were given my way. So I'll answer some of those questions. I'm going to start off with the alternative minimum tax that just well, it's been there since 1986, but there are changes made to the plan, to the tax starting next year. So starting January 1st, 2024, there are some changes coming to this, right? So let's start off with what is AMT. The AMT provision in the Income Tax Act has been in effect since 1986. AMT is a tax calculation that applies to certain high income taxpayers who may otherwise pay little or no tax because of the deductions, exemptions, and credits they claim under the regular tax system. So AMT is really designated to ensure that these taxpayers pay, some sort of tax. Under the proposed AMT calculation, not only is the donation tax credit halved, but also 30% of the capital gain realized on the donation of the security in kind is included in the income for the purpose of calculating your AMT. I'll show this in an example. So if we go to the next slide over, the calculations are a bit complex, but what we want to focus on is this here. Under the regular tax calculation, we can see that we're just taking. So in this case, let's assume you earned $300,000 in eligible dividend income from Canadian companies, realize $200,000 in capital gains, and want to donate publicly listed security in kind valued at $150,000. Now, the donated security has an ACB, which is adjusted cost base of $50,000. So that occurred capital gain is $100,000. Now, with the old way of calculating, you would just take the full amount and get a receipt for that. Now, with the new calculation, the capital gain that has occurred, 30% of that will have to be included in your AMT tax. So essentially what's happening is when you look on the 2024 AMT calculation, there's an additional 30,000 that came from the 100,000 capital gain at 30%. So that 30,000 is now being calculated in the taxable income. That brings your taxable income high. Therefore, the last number you're going to see after all the credits applied, you are at, your federal tax rate has gone up to 47,460 versus 31,634. So the tax is essentially going to be applied on the greater of the two. So it's either your regular tax or the AMT. Whatever is higher is what the government will charge you. Now, this difference can be carried forward for the years where perhaps your own tax was higher. That's one good thing that could be looked upon. But ultimately, the donation itself is being halved as the tax credit, and also 30% of the capital gain tax will be applied for the calculation. Now, strategies you might want to consider now. What can I do to, now so this tax isn't impacting my donation? Well, simple answer is donate now, right? This year, we still have some time before the year is done. So as of right now, full tax credit, no impact from proposed AMT change. Now, moving forward, these are some of the strategies you may want to consider. Spread out donations, donate over multiple years. Think about the pledge of giving, right? The whole point is, I understand I won't say taxes, but that the ultimate goal is to give to these charities such as Renascent, where funding is always required. Income adjustments. So, think about how you're going to take your income, maybe lowering from interest income, taking dividend income that has a lower tax consequence on one's taxes, perhaps capital gains. So interest income in Canada is calculated at the highest tax bracket, it's 100%. Capital gains is at 50%. I'm not going to bore you guys with the numbers, but these are some very simple things that we talk about. Estate donations are exempt from AMT, so that's not going to impact you. So if you are donating directly from your estate, that will not impact the new changes. And same thing with corporations. If you're donating from a corporation, the AMT does not apply. Okay. Now, I will say I'm not a tax expert, so when it comes to this stuff, you definitely want to touch base with your tax accountant. But yes. Now, let's talk about just what's happening, and then there's this Canadians are choosing to give more, and one of the questions that came to me was, why is such an interest all of a sudden in giving to charities? The simple answer, to me at least, is we went through something very traumatic recently, COVID, right? That has shaped the lives of us, and we'll never look at the world the same way. Really taught us that we're not here forever. This is the time we have, and then we're all going to go one day. So people are realizing that and understanding there's a greater good in giving. So I truly believe that that's really it. And it's good that, we got to experience that and our minds are changing, because the reality is, with the demographics, with the economy that we're in, with inflation where it is, cost of living gone up, more Canadians are relying on, charitable donations more than any time that I could think of, right? So we're seeing food banks really seeing constant need. With all the immigrants coming in, people are really relying on charitable donations, and we play a big factor in that. We actually at RBC just organized a food bank from all the branches. So it's just constant. there's a lot of people in need, and we should do our part. That being said, in the next 2 decades, Canadian seniors population 65 and older is projected to increase by 68%, reaching 10.4 million by 2037. Again, and a lot of those seniors, unfortunately, haven't done their planning, and then unfortunately won't have the income from CPP and old age security to thrive. So, they're going to be looking for at these charities in need, right? So again, it's all of our moral duty, really. If we can give, well, we definitely should. I'm going to go to some questions that were thrown at me, Christina. These are some that you sent me. One of the questions was, how can I plan with multi-generational focus? All right. Now, giving through a will or setting up a trust that is administered through a FI, such as RBC, TD, any of these big institutions. World Trust, we are partnered with Canada Charitable. So we actually administer donations there. Anyways, you can set up a pay income only or income capital, depending on the timeline of you select. And at the end of the day, you can't force your kids. Once you leave assets to the children, you can entrust how important it is, but the assets are being controlled by the kids at that point, so can't really force anybody. Now there are 2 ways though I will focus on. They're called trusts. So you guys all know what a trust is, right? There's 2 main types of trusts. There's a testamentary trust, which essentially comes in effect once one has passed away. And then there's the inter vivos trust and the alter ego trust and the trust living joint trust. Those generally are created once one's live. They're using the assets, but at the same time, those trusts are used essentially. So with the alter ego or the joint partner trust, you will not be able to use the trust assets to achieve your charitable objectives during you or your spouse's lifetime. However, you can choose to donate the income or the capital that you receive from these trusts. So again, the way the trust is set up, you cannot use the actual property, the principal in it, until the passing. However, you can set up the growth, if you will, of the capital disbursement. Now, your alter ego or the joint partner trust can donate the trust property upon your death, or in the case of joint partner trust, the death of the surviving spouse. You may be entitled to an immediate donation tax credit for the property you transfer to the trust if you structure the trust as a charitable remainder trust. Alternatively, the trust itself may also be eligible to claim a donation tax credit on any charitable donation made directly by the trust after your death. The charitable gift must be properly structured to ensure that the amount paid to the charity by the trust is viewed as a gift and not as a payment in satisfaction of the charity interest as the beneficiary of the trust. Now, going back to the testamentary trust, your trust assets may be more than enough for you to provide for your families during their lifetime. You may wish to provide the asset that remains after your family member's death to the family's favorite charity. This may be accomplished by establishing a testamentary trust for the benefit of the family member, with the remaining assets going to the death of one's, and then funds going to the charity of the trustee or the trustee's choice. So again, the objective of the testamentary trust is to use the assets while you're alive, but essentially once you and then your spouse has passed away, to have the charity as the beneficiary of the trust. Now, I will now go back to some of those questions that we're talking about earlier. What are some tax-efficient tax vehicle strategies? There's so many registered vehicles we can use today to shelter taxes, or maybe push taxes. So RSPs come to mind. TFSAs, tax-free savings account. I'm seeing a lot of my clients actually use those as retirement vehicles. Some of them actually are using them for charitable giving as well. Any growth in a tax-free savings account is tax sheltered at all times, so will not count towards your estate. So those are some, tax registered accounts you want to use. There's a new account I'm sure you guys have heard of, FHSA, First Time Home Buyer Savings Account. Now that account really is for someone to help buy a house. So, some of our alumni that are looking to potentially, acquire property one day may want to look into this account. The government allows $8,000 contribution annually up to $40,000 lifetime. The benefit of this account is it is tax write-off, just like RSPs. Now, it can only stay active for 15 years. At that time, the account has to be closed off. So it has to, now the good thing is it can roll over to your RSPs. And again, you can use those RSPs. And if you want to, give to charity, you can do that. But the main objective of this account is to help Canadians purchase their first home. And this is in addition to the first home buyer plan, which is through an RSP. That there's a lot there. We can definitely talk about this another time. But in addition to the first time home buyer plan, this is something new introduced this year. Okay, let's see here. Going back to why legacy giving is gaining traction in Canada. I know, again, one thing I mentioned earlier is as we experience this big change in the world, so we're looking at that world in a different way now. The other simple answer is Canadians are choosing to have less children. Christine and I were talking about this the other day. If it wasn't for immigration, we are headed right down in our number of population stats starting 2030. So immigration is playing a big factor in our growth. But ultimately, Canadians are choosing to have less children, and without children, you don't want to leave the money to CRA, right? So that's the main reason we're seeing a lot more giving. Okay, can I reduce my capital gains? The answer is yes. Through proper tax planning, there are ways. Selling the security when it's down, which is probably not advisable, unless you're doing it to offset a gain from another asset. So you can have multiple securities where perhaps one has gone up, and to offset that, you can sell a security that's down at the end of the year. We call that crystallizing. Again, this is a capital loss rule. You can go back 3 years and forwards indefinitely. Again, some of the stuff I'm talking about may be a little complex, but if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it another time. What are some popular forms of charitable giving? Donating cash outright, stocks in kind. So those are probably the most famous. Art pieces that hold value, Canadian ecological land. There's so many things the Crown will accept. Whatever has that has value. Okay, let me see here. So I know my time, I think I'm going over my time now here. What I'll leave everybody with, at least from what I'm gathering here, is one of the aspects of charitable giving is to ensure your own portfolio is managed well. Ask yourself this question: am I in the right portfolio with the right asset allocation? Is the portfolio suited for you based on your life cycle? Furthermore, is it based on your risk rating, time period, investment goals? How is the portfolio returns compared to my peer group? What fees am I paying? Am I mitigating my tax liability by earning the right type of return using the various vehicles I just spoke about? Right. So at the end of the day, of course, we want to leave a legacy behind, but we need to ensure that our own portfolio is being managed properly. Right. And for that, if anybody wants to be in contact with me, I would more than welcome review your portfolios and give my feedback if we can add value. Again, the last thing I'll say is at the end of the day, you aren't remembered for what you did for yourself. It's what you do for others is what, in my eyes, really matters, and that's your legacy. I'll end it there.
Thank you, Pardeep.
You're welcome.
Over to Manu. Over to Laura.
Thank you very much, Pradeep. This is very helpful information. I think, Christina, you were going to launch your poll question.
Yes, so one poll question left. So reflecting on tonight's speakers and the transformative potential of a gift, how do you feel about the idea of leaving a legacy gift, whether in the form of cash, in kind, such as a gift of stock or an item, or through a bequest in your will? So positive, neutral, unsure, negative. Hopefully nobody feels negative about it. But if you do, that's okay. Just leave that up for a couple minutes. Perfect. Great, and I'll share the results. So it's a landslide. Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. This is a very helpful and informative session. Thank you for your thoughtful questions and for your expertise, Kriti. I would now like to invite Laura Hoy to say a few words in closing.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you everyone for joining today, and thank you to everyone who made tonight happen. Manu, Christina, the whole team, and Pardeep. Thank you for sharing all of that information with us. I think it's such an interesting thing to think about. I think in terms of giving and the idea of having a planned, making a planned gift. And I think Christina, you talked about, that's something pretty special and something that I think as an individual you want to think about as, something that you want to do that's a significant planful thing, and that it's something that you want to have an impact on the welfare of others or our world. So I think it's a pretty amazing thing to think about and to learn more. I'm sure, I learned listening, Pardeep, to, the information you were sharing. I think it just spurs on for me. I need to learn more, like to understand where the opportunities are with just some of how the taxation works, etc., where some of those opportunities are to give that, we may not even be aware of our ability to give. So that, I think that is a really key insight. And yeah, I really thank everyone for sharing today and for being here and to be interested in the idea of making a planned gift. I think it's amazing. So thank you, everybody. On behalf of Renascent, thanks for being here to think about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, so much for being here today.
Have a great night.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manu.
Bye.